Ulonga tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá inú tó yẹ kó jẹun lọ fi bí pa Ọbàtálá ọba takuntakun Ṣàngó Èṣù Ògún Ọya Ọ̀ṣun kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings, Oboro, Oboye, Aboshi, Shay. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisa Gbemi, and today we have on none other than our distinguished community elder, the one, the only legendary Oloye Baba Ifa Karade. Alafia, Baba, what's going on with you? How you doing today?
Things are well. You know, give thanks and praises, you know, and Ashe to the Ashe tribe, and you know, Ekabo to the Karade nation, and together, you know, we will win. Okay, together we will win. Tie up the lion. All right. So yes, I'm feeling exceptionally well today, my brother. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely, it's an honor and a pleasure, as always. You know how we do. So, you know, first and foremost, I want to give thanks to the tribe. Thanks to everybody for showing love on the channel. We're still growing, still crossing, you know, new boundaries, new plateaus, milestones, I should say, new milestones. We hit 1,600 subscribers, man. I appreciate every single one of y'all. 1,600. That's big. That's real big, Baba. I mean, because you know we've been moving pretty rapidly. So I really want to give thanks to every single one of those 1,600 who have subscribed to our channel and our platform, as well as you know, we hit 120,000, I think, plus total views, and yeah, just blessings, man. People still showing love, even with me being down a little bit this week. Channel still popping, you know, channel still channeling, Ashe still Ashe. And I just want to really give thanks to everyone. I see we got a brand new member to the community. Shout out to Ifa Sagun, the Karade Nation in the building, part of the new member of the family. So we appreciate you, family. As a matter of fact, me and Baba didn't even speak about it yet, but we definitely will be having our next call this week. So I'll get with Baba. More than likely, if your schedule permits, Baba, I'm thinking maybe Sunday. We can do the next community call. You know, and I appreciate it. And yeah, so we're gonna make it do what it do. And so I want to definitely start out by giving a thanks, a huge mudupwe, you know, and I appreciate everybody for the love, the support, the likes, the shares, for the new members of the private community, new members of the VIP community, and everybody who's been showing love, man. We here now, you know, and I appreciate you all. And Baba, you know, I appreciate you, you know, to the fullest for all that you do, you know, on and off air, for all that you do to pour into not only the Ashe community, but pouring into me. So I definitely want to give a huge thanks and a huge mudupwe to you as well, Baba, as well as the whole Ashe tribe. And to celebrate us hitting that 1,600, I got a little something that I want to share, you know, just to give thanks, you know, to really show, you know, how much I really appreciate y'all for riding with us. And then, of course, Baba, you know, 16 is a very significant number in regards to the Ifa Ishe tradition. So with that, you know, 16 being symbolism of the 16 major Odu, I want to do something special with that number 16. So yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit later this evening.
Powerful. Epega.
Yes, sir. So with that, Baba, I think I got, you know, a little bit of an inkling of as to how today's topic, you know, came up and why it was chosen. And also shout out to everybody for, you know, understanding about the calls that was missed last week. We had like 2 or 3 big calls that was supposed to go down, but we're going to reschedule those as well. And Baba and I got other stuff that we're working on to bring back to the tribe as well too, but appreciate all y'all. But with that, Baba, 1,600, 16 Odu, and then you so wisely have today's topic is of elder reflections. So how did that one come up, Baba?
Well, just so happens, my good people, that it is my solar return this day, right here, right now. You know, just being at this age chronologically, 72, and having those moments of age, dawning, those moments of age eclipsing as the dusk of reality comes in more so into view. It's like, how important is reflecting? How important is not so much looking back in order to lament, but looking back in order to learn, looking back in order to start to discern and differentiate that which is working towards the ultimate goal of spiritual upliftment and enlightenment, making certain, more so, that the directives from this moment on reflect the wisdom of age, and to build the throne of eldership and to sit upon it humbly, wisely, and to be able to shine as a light amongst the people. So all of that coming together, with what's happening here on the Ashe podcast, the Ashe channel, and what's happening in the lives of the people whom I am dare say, a significant or important person due to my eldership and due to my works. It's like, okay, it's time to put the finger on the pulse of reflection, and with that, I present to you, a reflection of myself and what I have worked so very hard to demonstrate, through my career, profession, as an educator, as an author, as a lecturer, as someone in the world, as they say, and someone who is not of the world, because I'm of the spirit and have been for a very, very long time. So that said, Baba Orisa Gbemi, my brother Ojise, that's how the topic dawned upon me.
Nah, I appreciate you, Baba. And look, Echo Dune to you. 72 years young. How does a young fellow like yourself celebrate such a monumental, their solar return around the sun, Baba?
Well, embracing the solitude, and really embracing the who I am, more so than the who I was trying to be and who I felt as though I needed to be, and what I carved for myself in terms of my own trials and tribulations, and then at this point just say, you know what, it's not the worst of anything, the days that I've lived. So in this moment, like raindrops, okay, accept life for what it is. And I've been able to dwell peacefully with that throughout, the past days. And those who have celebrated me, from students to family, they're not only celebrating my years, but I can see through their eyes, the soulful embracing of who I am. And I rejoice in that, I really, really do. And it's that kind of joy, that is a result of my acceptance of the ancestral, my acceptance of Ifa and Isheshe, my acceptance of our community that lends purpose, and through that purpose, a deep and abiding sense of peace and the progress that peace and working together and having a common goal can, should, and must be manifested. So that's how my past few days have been. Just being okay with who I am and who I'm continually becoming, and accepting the positive energy and essence that that the people give, that our people share. Again, from students to family to our Egbe, our Ile right here, right now. So that's how my day has been, brother. And that's how it's going to continue to be. This day is going to last until next year.
I know that's right. That's
Uh,
that's what's up. Yeah, no, that's powerful. It's wonderful as
yeah.
well. And even excuse me, as someone as distinguished as yourself and as young as you are, like I say, you still motivate and inspire me. As hard as you go, as hard as you work, as well as the disciplines and spending the time in nature, the Tai Chi, the rowboat, the writing, the reading, the reflecting, like all the things that you do, on a regular basis. These are all things that I'm learning, firsthand in real time, and how to kind of take away every little piece that I feel like I could use to put in my tool belt to kind of do my work and do what I do on my path and journey. And it's a beautiful thing, to be able to see someone doing it on this level, like that in real time. And, even at a young, but also a matured, seasoned age of a young 72, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's no excuse for me not to be able to do things on a high level. There's no excuse for me not to be consistent. There's no excuse for me not to get things done and accomplished on a regular basis, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. You know what I'm saying? And familially, communally, and culturally, because I'm seeing it in real time, with elders like yourself. And it's like, man, for one, I'd be happy just to be alive, at that age of 72, first and foremost, but also to be able to still move around and do what you do, and to be how you be. Like, that's a beautiful thing, man, because just to kind of put it into perspective for the sake of humility and really thinking about what matters in life, right? So the last live we had was, I won't say cut short, but it wasn't nowhere near what it should have been, because I was in the middle of fighting off something that I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fighting that thing like Tyson in his prime, because it jumped on me like a damn bear, and I was throwing my little blows back, throwing haymakers, but it tried to hold me down, but I ain't let it. But anyway, it did make me think and reflect about the things that I feel like sometimes in life might get taken for granted. So even something like, for me myself, I would never say that I feel like I took my voice for granted, but I'd be lying if I said that it didn't hurt me a lot more to not be able to speak than it did. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't anticipating that, especially for as long as it took me to get my voice back to where I could even talk the way we're talking now. I just spoke to you, I think, Wednesday this week.
Right,
It was
right,
like I was just able to really, talk to where people could hear me. So
right.
it's like that really gave me time to think. It gave me time to reflect, but it also gave me time to be grateful for the things, the small things that we have. Something as simple as, having your voice, having your health, having your strength, having, all the things that I feel like sometimes they get taken for granted. And then even in hindsight, as I'm speaking to you, sharing that with you now, it makes me think about someone who meant everything to me, which was one of my grandmothers, who I would dare to say is my guardian. She transitioned at the young tender age of 74. You know what I'm saying? And it's nuts, because I was 18 at the time, but being 18, I'm thinking like 74 is old. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because back then, most of the elders who were in their 70s, they were like elder. Like how I see people in their 80s and 90s now. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
feel like some of the elders were back in my younger days when, I was in my teens and, growing up. And so it's like, man, now I know elders like you, your age, who still like doing everything that I do. I know, Baba Togu traveling the world. He all over the place, and y'all in the same age range. This is like, wow, things have changed or we have changed. But
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely something to consider, and something that I thought about, in deep retrospect, in regards to like the time off that I had. And it was something that really made me think about a lot of different things and to go deep into that interpersonal, introspective state, of just kind of beingness.
Yeah. Well, see, that's one of the powerful things of having elders within the community, and especially those elders whom one bonds with emotionally, spiritually, and that so wisely stated, mentally, and in terms of purpose and perspective. You see, and there are times when one may wonder, okay, what would our world be without elders and eldership, and what would our lives be like, without the concern that's shared and the visions that elders have that the youth cannot possibly have. They haven't lived long enough, and no matter what they've gone through, it's the perspective, and the navigational skills that come about through time, age, and concerted effort. Okay? Everyone who becomes older doesn't become an elder. Okay, so we are, as elders, be they grandparents or elders in the community, we make it our business, a conscious effort to share, okay, ways of continuation, ways of striving from the external to the internal, and to, as you stated one of our last podcasts, to the eternal, from the external to the internal to the eternal. And those of the younger generations, some will pick up on it and some won't. There are many factors and conditions which give rise to those who are more thoughtful and appreciative, as yourself. Okay. And there are conditions and circumstances that may have one completely dismissing eldership and not even seeing themselves as elders, be they have children or not. The road, okay, and let's just say as established by our ancestors, on to becoming the Baba Babas and the Yeyes and the Babarubos, and is to say, look, at a certain point, perhaps you're going to start to see things differently, to include Ifa Isheshe. At a certain point, you perhaps will be able to step out of the worldly aspect of it all and spin spirally into the inner essence and aspect of it all. And once you spiral in that for any given amount of time, you will embrace that eternalness of you. You will embrace the importance of leaving footprints in the sand of your life, so that others, even if they don't walk in them, they will see that you have been here. And that becomes a part of the eternalness of our existence, not just as a family, but as a people. And if Ifa and Isheshe, in my humble opinion, as I sit on the throne of eldership in my corner of the universe, if Ifa and Isheshe is not leading us to that, regardless of the ritualization, regardless of the divinations, regardless of, the historical and the philosophical debates, if we're not moving as a people towards the eternalness of we as a people, then the purpose in all capital letters is missed. And the elders will look and shake their head and they'll be like, well, what's your purpose? What is your purpose? Because if you want power and you have no purpose, you're going to be easily toppled by those who are not as strong as you are, because you have no purpose. And again, we're not hearing this out in the worldly dimensions. We're not reading this because, let's face it, most books are about either the power of or the predictability of the predictions of, or the supernatural aspects of. And it's hard sometimes for elders to look at all of this and say, that's just kind of level 1 and level 2. There are an infinite number of levels. So allow yourself to grow. Permit yourself to be yourself deeply and honestly, and stand strong in that, because that's your internal leading you to the eternal. And that, my people, is the purpose. How could anyone deny it or debate it? Although they do, because they may be gaining from the lack of, instruction. They may be gaining from a sense of power where perhaps they've never felt any inkling of power, and they may be so motivated because of the initial granting of blessings or what is desired. Okay? And that's fine. Okay. But then what happens when you get 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old? Are you still, spinning in the outer world? But I'm not saying any of this to be conflictual. Okay? But I can't sit here at 72 and speak to you like I'm 32. And then, continue the same rhetoric, the same routine, and call it ritual, the same thing. And people aren't moving towards an ultimate goal and purpose via Ifa Isheshe. So that's basically, what I have to say about that, brother. And I'm more than elated at this age and stage to be on this podcast and embrace, the directive that we're going on, and the people who are saying, we're not following them, we're with them. If everybody's on the ship, nobody's following anybody. The ship is the ship. We're moving together. Now, you may have those who can read the stars a little bit better. You may have those who can read the tides a little bit better. You may have those who can hoist the sail a little bit better. You know what I mean? You may have those who can fish a little bit better to make sure everybody get fed. But we're all working together, and we all have a singular purpose. And that's what seems to be missing. And that's what we of the Ashe tribe and the Karade Nation are taking care of. We're putting attention on that. We're not leaving that unattended. How can we How can we? So at this age and stage, I know what I know. Okay. And as I just stated, we may have different skills and abilities. Some may be the ritualists, some may be the diviners, some may be the writers, some may be the philosophers, some may be the hunters, some may be the farmers. I could go on and on and on. But what everybody is, moving in the direction of the purpose of our being and Egbe, the purpose of our being and Ile, the purpose of our being Ifa Isheshe. Whether we're Olagberry, I just like it, but I don't really want to get into all that kind of thing. I enjoy reading the books. I know the Orisa with me, and I know my ancestors. I'm good with that, all the way up to the Babas and the Ears and the Babalawos and the Iyanifas. As long as we have established our purpose and what we're going to do to make this world, however we define it, better. And Ifa is called Ikpo Re Re. We'll make this world better. It's one of the tenets of Orumila's teachings. Okay. So again, as the elder, I do have my message, and the work that's being done, substantiates that.
Mm.
What do you think?
I say Ashe. That's what I think. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, and shout out to Ifa Segun for joining the excuse me, the membership. It's funny, I did today being Osei Ifa Day, I was doing my Osei Ifa, and Ifa Segun came up a few times during the during my offerings to Rumula. So it's like to see him the first one on, I'm like, Spirit definitely doing what Spirit do for sure.
Right.
Definitely Spirit definitely doing Spirit do on top of that name meaning victory. So I feel like we already victorious just for showing up today. We here now. So shout out to the tribe, man, and everybody who's been holding it down with us. We got a lot in store. And so with that, bye-bye. Before we get into the reflections, I had a little something that I kind of was in a bit of a tizzy with dealing with all that foolishness I was dealing with my upper respiratory system, kind of trying to take my voice from me last week. But I said, I'm gonna fight back, man, and stay strong. And but at the same time, whenever I get into situations like that, it puts me in a place where sometimes I get mad and furious sometimes, when things happen, where I don't necessarily process it. But I know also the Creator don't give us the ability to see everything. Like, who would we be to think that we could anyway, to know why things happen or when they're gonna happen, etc. But I do know, long story short, with not being able to talk, I had to do a lot of listening and a lot of reading. But on top of that, I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna do some writing, man. I need to write this out. I need to go ahead and get a few things off my chest, man, and let some creative juices flow. So with that, I took the time to put together a little piece, for really for the tribe for sure, but hell, for myself and for anybody who I feel like would be interested in going into the new year, with not only a bit of a bang, but going in with a clear sense of direction, a clear sense of purpose, a clear sense of setting new disciplines, setting new habits, and setting new trends, of visualization, of crystallization, of actualization, and last but definitely most certainly not least, of manifestation. So, what better time to go into doing those things than to begin what they would call a new year, which is not technically our new year, but
But
the
we are
Western,
who we are.
yeah, it's a civilization new year. So just for those who trust me, I know our new year is not January, but for the sake of the mainstream of society, going into the new year, I want to kind of do it with a different approach. So with that, one of the things that was brought up in our last BIP call actually was some of the things that we can do to add value you know, to the program, to the mentorship, and to the channel. And that's the blessing of having like people who are real, but people who are extremely intelligent in their own rights. Because like you said, it's not about us, it's about the tribe. It's not about us being captains of the ship, it's about the ship. Because either way it goes, whether we talking about the ship on the ocean, the seas of, you know, of Olokun and Imoja, or we talking about the ships that come from the skies, you know, from the universe, we talking about the motherships, we talking about intergalactic, you know, interstellar, intergalactical space travel, because we've done it all. We've charted the skies just like we've charted the seas on this planet. So it's like, but either way it goes, it's never been about one individual. It's always been about the collective. It's always been about the united front. It's always been about the whole entire tribe, at least those who we all kind of know that we can all work together in that light. Because unfortunately some people can't and don't, but that's not about us. What we're about is elevation. So with that, man, it was an opportunity to reflect. And I took that time to create something that was mentioned, you know, in one of those calls, in the last call. And hopefully, you know, the tribe would be interested in seeing what it's about and taking advantage of it. And then I did post on the community tab yesterday that I wanted to help celebrate this, not just the 1,600 subscribers, but also celebrating you, Baba, and, you know, your echo doing in regards to doing something with that number 16. So with that, I want to kind of set up a way to give the opportunity to some subscribers and some listeners to receive an opportunity to join us with the presentation of a new book that I wrote while I was on the bench. Man, I had to take the time to write and put together a little book, Baba. So, you know, with that happening, someone that I know near and dear decided to do me a favor and put together a real powerful foreword, you know, for that particular project. So would you mind if I shared that forward, Baba, with the people, with the tribe? Or is that okay?
Give me a minute to think about it, brother. Let me see what's going on. Well, before we go with the Behini, you know, we're gonna go with. I was honored that you brought the project, you know, to my attention, and more so when you asked me to write the foreword, you know, and I remember you were so surprised. It was like, Bobby, you read it already? And I was like, yeah, man, you sent it to me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm supposed to do? You know, wait on it till next week? No, no. You say, oh, they got so much. And look, I always got room on my plate for this, you know. Then I shared that with you. I said, yeah, man, I went over it and this, that, and the other thing. And that. And then you said, oh, Bobby, write the foreword for me. And I was like, bam, you know, that one kind of, I'm telling you, kind of caught me by surprise. But in my mind, it was like, I already wrote it. You know, my spirit was like, when you was reading it, you was writing it because you was like, dang, you was processing it. It was so awesome. I was into it like 360 degrees, you know. And when you asked me to do it, I said, listen here. All right. Then I'll get it to you in a couple of days. And then Spirit had me up and you had it that night. Right. So yeah, it was a joyful time, man. And I appreciate the work and I appreciate you and I appreciate the spirit that moved you. You know?
I say
it's a wonderful text. All right. It's wonderful.
I appreciate it, Baba. No, with that, man, I think no further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and share it. So
share,
yeah, I mean, you know, and I want to share that too, because like I said, Spirit and even like E5 been communicating with me on a different level. Because you know, when you're in, what is it called, solitude or isolation, you know, you really do have time to think. And so for me, you know, not only did I think, but I feel like Spirit just kind of was like, we're gonna do something. So we wrote a book, you know, and I'm gonna tell you what's even more dope about it is that I looked at the call that we had, the last VIP call, which was on November 30th. So on that call, we mentioned it, and shout out to Adana, shout out to Nkosi, the VIP members who were on the call. But it was the feedback that y'all gave me that made me, you know, Spirit kind of work through me to create this project. So one of the things that was mentioned was like how to have some sort of system or some sort of system to kind of be consistent on a regular basis with, you know, the prayers, or whether it's like learning about the differences with the Elekes or how the Orishas connect to the Elekes, or whether it's like what doing prayers or doing offerings or doing ancestral veneration at the shrines, whatever the case may be. It was like, it would be cool if y'all could put something together like that to kind of help create sort of like a daily schedule or system. So long story short, that's what Spirit kind of led me to do, was to create a journal, going into 2025, and to use it not just for Ifa Isheshe and spirituality, but also to use it as a multi-dimensional, I would say, journal, because it does work with Ifa Isheshe, it works with the ancestors, it works with the chakras, it works with the Ori, it works with visualization, it works with setting goals, it works with reflection. So it was like spirit was spirit and Baba. And I looked at the date, and it was November 30th when we had that call. And then when I got the little whatever I was fighting is when spirit kind of got on me to create. And yeah, you remember I was telling you I was up to about 4 o'clock in the morning, like 2 nights. But long story short, I knocked it out in like maybe 2 or 3 days. I was able to put that project together, and then to have you do what you did for it, that was just like the icing on the cake. So it's like, it really meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me for you doing that, because it's huge to see the words and the writing and the craftsmanship of someone who I've read their work so many years. And still, like I said, I got to pinch myself sometimes, because even having these calls is still surreal. But then to now take that to the next level with having that same hand pen the intro to a work of mine, which is my first actual work, in the Ifa Isheshe, I would say, tradition. I would say from a author perspective, or from a creative work perspective, besides the podcast. So that meant a lot, man, for you to be the one to kind of be the gatekeeper, to open the gate, to let me into this space in the Ifa Isheshe realm of artistry, of art, of written word, of communication. So that meant everything to me, on top of the gratitude to the spirit and the ancestors and the Orisha for bestowing the blessing upon me to share that. So with that, I'll share a quick piece of the project real quick with the tribe.
Yeah, take your time, brother.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's the book. The title is Spiritual Awakening, the Journal, a journey of self-love, ancestral wisdom, and spiritual awakening. So with that, let me jump into Baba's foreword. Let me see. All right. Foreword by Oloye Ifa Karade, Professor Babalawo. The long-awaited ebook text has arrived. By that, I mean in ways beyond the expected, is a timely presentation of an Ifa Isheshe directive where the focus is more specifically on self-help. To be clear, as a Babalawo with 4 decades of experience, founder of an Ile, of ritual, of practice, and a professor, I have embraced the understanding of the need and the primary cultural embracing of rituals, divinations, consultations, offerings, etc. However, what is missing, and as an afterthought longed for, is what the next level or the next step, that being the deeper school of thought underlying the esoteric teachings of Orunmila, the prophet figure, especially as a veil to the populace. In the past, few of us were even exposed to the inner realms of Ori, psychological awareness and development. The emphasis was then, as is now, on the esoteric or outer expression / practice, and the resultant blessings being bestowed were given by the divinities, the Orunmila, the Orisha, and Orunmila. Prayers, chant songs, dances, offerings, possessions, and the powers of the sixth sense initiates dominated the field of our endeavors and continue to do so. In all manners, I understand it, involved myself in it, and to a degree, I still do understand that there are those of us who need to be with, excuse me, the ritualists, as there as a need as the ritualists. There is a need for the ritualists. There is a need for those of us who seek out the diviners, as there's a need for the diviners. What seems to be missing is that in any given African society, be it the Oyo Empire or the Edo or the Iya, the Great Wall of Benin, there had been a complex symbiosis that allowed different roads to exist as long as those roads led to the same edifice or pinnacle, that of the societal and mental elucidation held by every member of the nations comprising the empire. What we also seem to miss is that there were also various schools of philosophy and various tiers of worship and practices within the African geopolitical boundaries. And again, each working towards the greater good and elevation of the consciousness and the concrete strengthening of the people of their ultimate purpose. Taking into consideration the aforementioned, let's return to this exceptional ebook/text created, penned, and designed by Orisa Gbemi, himself a noted Babalawo, mentor, lecturer, entrepreneur, author, and project manager. Here in his work, we find what I call the next step in the post-Ma'afa appreciation for and instilling within African spiritual systems geared toward becoming who we once were and what we cannot help but to become, the writers of our self-development, of our self-realization, and ultimately our self-actualization. It might be said that none of this can happen unless two primary steps are embarked upon. Those being number one, introspection in order to heal and to grow. Number two, having the means to do so. Here is where the genius of this treatise blossoms because it offers both. It's important to realize the value of taking the responsibility of developing ourselves and not an affront to our ancestors nor our orishas. On the contrary, my years of being on this Iwakeri spiritual journey and self-transformation of Iwori via years of self-analyzation has led to the conclusion that such a process is precisely what the ancestors and the Orisha wanted us to do. They want us to relive our glory outside the confines of Eurocentrism, as we did prior to their destructive invasion. They want us to see the value in working together and building the largest human-made structure prior to the industrialization. They want us to pass on the legacy of strength and forbearance to at least 7 generations ahead. And dear people, how we are that if we don't awaken our spirits embedded deep within our Ori and our mindset, and then walk boldly into the dawning, into the resurrection of ourselves as a people. But I digress. Let's refocus on this exceptional book. There are, in this book, deeply thought out self-help exercises, directives, brilliantly constructed using Ifa Isheshe as a means of reflective thought and visualization. Orisa Gbemi, the author, has included time-honored methods put into place whereby, whether initiated or not, any single-mindedly traverse of your own emotional, spiritual, and mental realms as an outcome become part of your healing process and your developmental process and your actualization process. Shit.
Yeah,
Man, I appreciate that.
yeah,
Definitely appreciate that.
yeah.
So yeah, with that, family. So I won't share the book because the whole book, because we got some people that
Yes.
yes.
Corporate espionage, crumb
I forgot
snatch.
about that part, but I wasn't going to address it. I was going to save my voice.
Go on with it, man.
Throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, let them know, bro.
Much of the book because there's definitely some folks out there, man, that be I guess they call it poaching. They be poaching on the tribe, on the channel, man. So I be seeing how sometimes some things I've never heard or seen online just so happen to be online after it had been shared.
We put it online.
Yeah. Baba put me on the game a while back about some of this poaching that he was seeing. So I had to kind of keep my eye out for it, and I've been seeing it too. But to each his own. But I look at it like this, though, Baba. It's a beautiful challenge to have because what they say, imitation is the best form of flattery, or something like that. Something like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like I would rather work with someone than them to, poach or steal content or information or whatever. But it's all good, It's all love on my end still, because I look at it like, when Coke did what Coke did, Pepsi came and did what Pepsi did. When Nike did what Nike did, Reebok came and did what Reebok did. When UPS did what UPS did, FedEx came and did what, you know what I'm saying? So it's like whenever you setting the trend or you setting the tone and it's working, other people want to see it and they're going, they want to jump on it too. So, it is what it is. But with that, tribe, I appreciate y'all. And so, like I said, being a man of my word, I definitely do want to give away 16 copies of it. And first and foremost, I'm gonna start with all of our members, whether it's the regular membership or the VIP membership. I'm gonna get with all y'all, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody gets a copy. So when we do our next call, we can work on that, and in addition to what Baba brings with his curriculum as well. So I look forward to sharing that with y'all. And then from there, I'm gonna create some sort of challenge. I don't know, like a challenge if someone shares the podcast on their social media and screenshots it and sends it to me. I'll send you a copy. It's only gonna be 16. I think we got about 10 to 12 members in the community, so that's gonna be like an extra 4 to 6 copies that I'll give away free. If anybody who's not a member of the community shares the Ashe African Spirituality Experience channel on their social media, and screenshots it and sends it to me, yeah, I definitely, you can send it on the community. You could tag this video, or you could tag one of the comments on the post from the community tab in the channel. And the first, I guess, 4 to 5 or 6 people that do that, I'll send you, access to a copy of the journal. So I look forward to, chopping up with the family and building with it, Baba, to really, work with everything that you kind of explained in your so brilliant, excuse me, brilliantly crafted forward. I can't wait to share that with the tribe.
Yeah, yeah. And first of all, Ekushé, it's a masterful piece, and it's the greatest of strategies, much less wisdom, to not put it out before, as they say, casting pearls, because people will snatch and run away like you never even existed,
Oh, yeah.
And I shared with you, the experiences that I have with the handbook and things like once it first came out, they ain't know whether to burn it or copy pages from it and build their own libraries. Man, it's like, what's going on here? Publishing rights and everything start getting in play. But it's the world that we live in, and there's nothing new about it. But I want to say this. Two points, and I'll be brief. One is that what I initially began to appreciate about Ifa and Isheshe, is that of the IBO, and it was a deep kind of liberating feeling to experience a quote unquote religious system, okay, that stated that blessings and reinforcement and support could come from a host of possibilities, a vast number of possibilities. It wasn't just, for example, God and man. It just wasn't, some hierarchy of the heavens. It was like, okay, well, your dude was Ikao Warren, and now we're going to do the Igbo, and we're going to see, where your blessings come from. Oh, it's coming from the Orisha. No. Is it coming from your Ile? No. Okay. Then Babalawo's like, is it coming from your Egun? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, now we have to deal with Egun. And then go on. Are the blessings coming from your husband? Are the blessings coming from your wife? And in this instance, on like, say, my Odun day, it would be like, say we did divination for are the blessings coming from the elders? You see, it just wasn't, God and the heavenly host and, little peon human beings who really have nothing to give to each other, in terms of divine upliftment and spiritual strength. And when I peeped that, every eye in my body took note and said, see, this is what is necessary. And then when it got to the part where you're your own blessing, you have to focus on you. And that hand that's chosen has that cowrie shell in it, and it's like, you have to work on you. You can go, continue to go through the Bimbage, continue to do whatever you want to do, but your blessing is going to be through you. And then most people who get that, as I've divined and shared over numerous years, it's like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, what do you do? Because see, we aren't raised to be within the knowing of our own potential. We aren't raised to be basically And I'm speaking more of a spiritual content, but then we can break it down to a worldly content as well, in terms of who controls our finances and who controls, you know, our educational systems, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the whole thing is, regardless of all of that, the capacity to self-introspect and self-reflect and self-navigate, and to devise a dedicated practice, is more and more, as the years go by, you know, more of an inner accessible methodology. You know, how do I become a better person? How do I become a blessing into myself? And then I came across the Odu, and I was reminded with Ogunda Ofun, since we're riding on 16 and the Odu, you know, where self-reliance is the crux of that Odu. Ogunda Ofun said we have to start relying on ourselves. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being self-reflective. There's nothing wrong with giving homage to one's ancestors without the ceremonial. You know, there's nothing wrong with being blessed by the Orisa by going through self-reflective exercises and working on the psychology of existence. And that is through the mindfulness, the Ori, the Iponri, okay? And moving from within. And I've come across a lot of people, which is why, you know, I'm saying this, who are like, well, well, what do the Orisha have to say about that? What do the gods have to say about that? And you know, I need to give it all to God. And then God is saying, I gave you what you need to have to give it all to you. So, you know, so start giving more to yourself. That's all praises due. And it goes beyond the cliche where all we're gods. Well, we can say we're anything, but what are we exercising? And as Baba Orisa Gbemi stated, you know, in addition to realization and actualization, what are we manifesting? You see? And of course, this makes us a little different than the outer world people. And there's nothing wrong with outer world people. They've been outer world people since the beginning, but they've also been inner world people. And when we start to question ourselves and the divinity that's rearing up inside of us, you know, as if we have to comply and be in you know, in line with the outer world people, and the same way that Nikki Giovanni Ibaye, you know, stated, you know, because I'm a black poet, I'm a black writer, that doesn't mean I have to be a black revolutionary to the sense where you know, it's I'm going to die for the cause, or I'm going to always lash out at the white power structure, you know. But I'm going to write from the heart, and I'm going to write to the hearts, and I'm going to write to bring whatever small pool of happiness that we have. I'm going to write to bring that to a lake. I'm going to do the Oshun thing up in here. You know, I'm going to bring love back into our community. And as we stated on the last podcast, Bob, if I'm Remy, about self-love and how we are struggling against self-hate. See? So all of the you know, I'm God and I got to look to God and all of that, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But for those of us who are the bridge builders, for those of us who, like Nikki Giovanni, or like, I'm going to take what little I can, from what little we have, and build a greater structure, build that Benin wall, within the minds and hearts of our people. That becomes purpose. That becomes purpose. I wanted to say that, and then I wanted to speak on, well, just kind of topping it off with, we are not offending the Orisa. We are not offending the ancestors. We are not offending Olodumare when we start to exercise the fulfillment of ourselves. And as I stated in the foreword, I know it. That's what they want us to do. We're going so far forward, but we're still doing Eurocentric. Okay. And again, I'll draw this analogy and then I'm going to sit back. Just like the Europeans will look back to Athens, as a part of their, their power, their struggle, their might. You got movies left and right about it, just like they'll look back to Rome, you got everything about it. I mean, when we talked about it before, the planets, the divinities, everything is a continual kind of recharging of who they are and the power that they had and the power that they continue to pull from. But when you look at we, the people, some of us are just hearing about our empires. Some of us have never heard about the Great Wall of Benin, the Iya, they call it. Why Iya? Protective, nurturing, bringing forth life within the city walls, within the empire walls, because there were a number of cities inside of the wall, if you can imagine that. And how we managed and how we build and how we grew and how we, with a singular purpose, established something so powerful and mighty that it took almost everything the British had in 1897 to break through. Took almost everything they had to break through. And yes, we fought back. Just like any mother would fight to protect her child. You see? So because we don't know that, and because those seeds aren't planted when we're young, like little European kids can just turn on the TV set or do a video game and it's all about the Vikings. And you know what I mean? They're revved up, they're charged, they're moved. Okay. The little black kids, sitting around, we're seeing that, but we're not seeing us doing the same thing. And that's why I say that the ancestors, the Orisa, Olodumare, all the Irumole, and to tell you the truth, even the Ajo Ogun, as wicked as they can be, they're like, yeah, they on track. They on track. Because they got to plug the cord back into the electrical socket in order to get that charge, to get that energy, in order to move forward.
Yeah.
And that's where your book comes in as a means for us to begin to exercise the revitalization, the current, running through us again, to say we are thoughtful, we are mindful, we are empire builders.
I share.
Yes,
sir. And real quick, Baba, I'm gonna jump into something. I'm gonna throw you back some kudos and some E-ray and blessings, peace and blessings your way for being who you are and who you be. So let me tell you how that works. So I appreciate that. That means everything to me, first and foremost. But also, I got a chance to check out A Place of Nights today, and I got into it, man. So when you were talking about reflection, I'm not gonna give too much of it away, respectfully, but I'm not even gonna say the characters' names, but I'll just say it because I know you'll know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
The daughter who was sent where she was sent and her father, who sent her where he sent her, they both had a very, very profound moment in their times where both of them had to do some really deep, deep, deep self-reflection and some really, really, really deep, deep self-analyzation, self-assessing. Like, they don't say they had to really kind of dig deep into themselves to figure out how they got to where they were, not only in their lives, but even more importantly, in the dynamics of their relationship. So that within itself, it goes hand in hand on how the universe works when we're talking about what you're talking about. And to give you another real time, I'm just real now. This just happened in the last, look, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 days, but this is real time. So I shared, I don't know if it was the last podcast or like one or two before, but I shared when I got my Elekes how I was able to memorize each Orisha based upon studying the handbook. So when I actually went through my ceremony to receive my Eleke, I was able to identify which Eleke was connected to which Orisha, right? Let me tell you how profound the power of Ashe is and the power of energy, or even, dare I say, just being a creator, someone who writes or creates or manifests, bringing knowledge and information, understanding, overstanding, outerstanding, and understanding from the spiritual realm, pulling it into the physical realm. So now we're talking about the Odu, because the Babalawo can't define or give any messages without being able to tap into the unseen, unknown realm of the feminine energy of Odu. So that's how this works. Writing this book, and I'm gonna share one page of it because I feel like this page is profound in regards to, I'll be like, I really feel like Spirit telling me our tribe can relate to it because we have people on different aspects of their path, that's all members of the community. So during writing the book, because of another lesson or another blessing that you put into the handbook, I was able to literally program my mind, my subconscious mind, and my conscious mind to memorize which Orisha is connected to which chakra from the time that I spent putting this book together and doing the editing, doing everything I need to do to line everything up for it to be ready for release. I was literally able to memorize every Orisha that aligns with the 7 major chakras. Because of literally doing the work over this past week where I couldn't talk. And I'm gonna like say them now because it's like I got them in my head. So I'm gonna start from the top. I'm gonna start with the top. The first one being of Ori, the 7th, right? And then you went from the 7th one, you went to the 6th one, which would be the 3rd eye, which you call Orunmila, right? And then from Orunmila, we went from 7 to 6. We're going to 5. 5 would be number 5, the throat chakra, which would be Obatala. And then from Obatala, you went down to the next one, which would be the heart chakra, number 4. That would be Ogunye. And then from Ogun, you went down to the stomach area, which that's going to be, the womb of the womb man. We're going to give that to Yeye Oshun. And then from Yeye Oshun, you went down to the pelvis area, to where the manifestation, the creation of life is. The whole pot and the gumbo is all stirred around. Where is that? That's in the belly, in the warm waters of Emosha. And from there, you go from 2 down to 1, which number 1 would be the root chakra, which would be Kabiese Umakoso Shango. Literally, just from putting this book together, from working on that part of the book, I was like, oh, I'll let them memorize it. So it was pretty cool, man. But that's what discipline and repetitions can do for you. It can really take us from one place to the next. But I'm gonna share this quick this page real quick, before we get into the reflection.
Take your time, brother.
This, I feel like this is gonna be relevant to a lot of different people who are in this journey with us.
All right.
But so this particular page of the Spiritual Awakening Journal, I put this in there intentionally about the thoughts about spirituality. And the first one that I put was, what are your values and interests and principles regarding your spiritual beliefs and practices, right? So we all, I think, are in alignment. Everybody who's on the podcast, I'm pretty sure we all have that same alignment with our values, interests, and principles being with Ifa Sheshe. So I feel like that's pretty much unanimous. But this one is one that I really want to let people know that you're not alone. And how are you prepared to deal with it? And what are some of the ways that you're going to deal with it? Because I feel like we all will have a different, unique perspective or strategy for how to deal with number 2. Number 2 is if your partner, whether it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, or your husband, your wife, whoever it is, if your partner or family members have a different religious or spiritual belief and practices, how will you address these differences?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact, every person I've ever dealt with on this journey, vast majority, I would dare to say 85 to 90% of the people, we're all the outliers of our family. So it's like we're kind of like outcasts in a sense, you know, unless you're someone who was born, you know, a second, third, fourth generation Ifa Isheshe, you know, lineage. But a vast majority of us in the diaspora, that's not the case. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with your children? The third one, if your children, you know, don't believe in Ifa Isheshe, how do you deal with that? So these are very, very thought-provoking questions that Spirit was on me to not only share with everybody in the world who reads the book, but also more, you know, I would say intentionally with our members of the VIP, you know, program, as well as those who will be joining the Institute, because these are all things where we're talking about real life, tangible
Yes.
processes, systems to put in place for us to develop into being who and what we are capable of.
Yes.
With our potential. You know what I mean? So it's like these are the things where I ain't knocking or judging people, but I see people who I feel like are putting stuff out to try to make money and making cash grabs for using some of the access to information that they have in regards to the tradition. That's fine. You know, it is what it is. But when you're coming from a pure place and you're coming from a place of adding value and pouring into your people, I feel like that's when Spirit jumps on us and it possesses us or it harnesses us to be the vessels to bring about and transmute the information from the unknown to the known, so the rest of us can benefit from it. So I give thanks to Spirit for allowing me to be just the vessel and the messenger to, you know, be obedient to delivering the message. But those are things that I can't wait to dive into this weekend, you know, to see how, you know, everybody's perspective is, you know, is amongst some of those questions. And not to mention, there's so much more that we'll get into, but that was one that I feel like, you know, it made me think, you know, how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah. Now, how am I dealing with it? You know,
Right.
you know, presently, and how did I deal with it? You know, several years ago. But you know what's also, you know, so very dynamic about this? You know, it's the saying that within Ifa, the people were praising the Ifa priests. The Ifa priests were praising the Orisha, and the Orisha were praising Olodumare. Now, it didn't say only, but it was like, this is kind of how it works. The Babalawos, okay, loosely translated, fathers of mysteries, and I wrestle with translations, you know. Now, how is it that we have a type of person who becomes the vessel for Ifa? How is it that we have the type of person who becomes initiated into one of the 5 possibilities of being a Babalawo, or a little bit of both, or 1 or 2 of this and 1 or 2 of that, okay, and be a channel for Ifa, and our possession perhaps being different than one who was possessed by the Orisha, one who was mounted. You know, as I shared in previous podcasts, when I was told, well, Babalawos don't get possessed, and I'm like, I question that. I feel as though when we reach altered states due to our efforts and our endeavors, when we get psyched in, it is a form of possession, and the voice of Ifa speaks through us. You know, and then we present that, and then we present it to the people, and there's nowhere in the Odu, to my limited knowledge, where it says your saving grace will be through the Babalawo, or the Iya Nifa or the Baba or Iya Larisha. They're not your saving grace. Your saving grace, again, is ultimately yourself. But you need those individuals who are so in tune when we speak of Ifa, or so touched when we speak of, people who get mounted at the bembes and various ceremonies where the word of the Orisha come through. And all of this is an opening up to what, again, is loosely translated as God, but I might say to the essence of existence. Okay? Because that O in Olodumare does not mean he. You see, that's Eurocentric. You understand? So it's like, we put these finite terms on an infinite essence, like, what do you name a breath? What do you name breathing? You understand? When we just call it breathing, okay, well, that's what we're doing, but what's its name? Well, we're existing. We are spiritual beings. So we call our existence God, and I'm saying perhaps not. And we call those who are so touched Babalawos and various titles. But then what do those titles actually mean in terms of the who you are and where you are and what your upbringing has been? So going back to the term that you stated, Baba Oguntola, about Therapriest.
Yes, sir.
And various studies that I was able to kind of examine throughout all the societies where you had diviners, they were all considered very important as therapeutic for the community. Not just, we're going to hook you up to the Orisha. We're going to hook you up to God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we're not trying to be, reverends, you know what I mean, and ministers and all that kind of stuff, where it's you and God, and you got to give everything to God. Well, no, but Rumula's saying you got to give everything to you, and that's not selfish. That's part of your existence, and to have your work is important in helping our people as Babalawos and Iyanifas to understand the importance of self-empowerment and self-giving of and self-loving of and self-not hating of and carrying that. When I left class the other day, and my students know it was my birthday and everything, so of course I brought them in some Nikki Giovanni because I wanted them to call her name, and that's what we did, and we read Ego Tripping, and we got into it. But before leaving, they sang happy birthday to me.
Sure.
I have one foot out the door, and they started. But why? Not just because I'm the professor. It's right. Because I'm healing them. The therapeutic value and the medicines that we bring to our community as Babalawos, as Iyanifas. It can't just be do the ebo. It can't just be that. But see, that means that a whole lot of rethinking has to go on within the Isheshe communities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, so what? It's about time you did some rethinking or some thinking, period. You know what I mean? Yeah. And let's be what the position calls for, as it's been called for throughout time. We're not priests in the Eurocentric frame of mind. We are healers of mind, body, and spirit. And we are deliverers unto the essence. The Orisha are simply portals. We have to get you there. You can say that you're there, but we know that you ain't there. Okay, you think you there, but we know you ain't there. But it's our position to give our people ways to get there. And that's why I say again to you, my brother, Ekushek, because this is a way to get people to get together and then walk through that portal to their Orisha, and then say self-help is a consistent basis that is going to take me into eldership, into elderhood. Because if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm hating myself, if I'm not realizing the essence within myself, then I'm on a self-destructive tendency kind of trip.
Yeah.
And so we start to see where the nature of Orisha and the nature of Orunmila lead us to say, Orisha ni masin, it's the Orisha save me because I cannot save myself.
That's it. Listen, that's one of my daily prayers, man. I memorized that one from the handbook.
See,
my prayer, my Orunmila prayer from the handbook. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like I don't. I'm just gonna be real. I don't say things like just for people to get, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't blow smoke up people's ass. I don't do that. I do my best to call everything how I see it to the best of my ability. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna fluff it. I ain't gonna bull that shit. Like I'm gonna call it how I see it. But the handbook really has done so much for me in my journey. Like that's why, like I said, it's amazing to share this aspect of my journey, with the writer of the handbook, and then to have that same author pen the forward to my first Ifa Isheshe, book or work. And then it made me think back to my very first book, Tips, Taking Initiative, Produce Success, which I'll be pumping that going forward next week when I bring the Prolific, the marketing consultant channel back. But it's like that book was all about personal development. Like for real, it was like me going through the worst of my times of my life and then figuring out how to pull something positive out of it and transmute that energy and send it back out. Just like the Black Panther suit. When T'Challa was getting hit by whatever it was, when he put that suit on, the suit would absorb all of them hits. And then whenever at his disposal, when he needed to throw that power and that actually out there, woof, he just, like took it and threw it back out there. So now we're talking about energy and manipulation of energy.
Well, see, I'm sorry. And that's what's important about the Diage journal. Because see, people, we have been raised to see the tips as something separate than the religious and the spiritual. Okay. That's just how we've been conditioned. That's not to say that is right. It's just to say that that's how we've been conditioned. So we can look at a mega preacher and kind of forget that. You know what I mean? We look at some, big church or some, Christian university and not feel as though these people are doing tips. You know what I mean? They're going to business school, but they're putting business into the religious factor, and they're stating emphatically, though quietly, that the more you believe in God, the more you're going to believe in the business of God. And I'm like, I see what you're doing. And we can be upset about it all we want, but that's how it rolls. It's and I'm not saying anything negative about it. I'm not saying anything positive about it. I'm just saying that it is what it is. So if we say, look, we have products, we have time-honored books, and as I shared with you, what was it, today or yesterday, that I see your book as being the handbook of this time. Where people are going to read it and say, all right, well, Baba Ifa Karade kind of late, plowed the cut forest down a little bit just so we can plow out his little land, and planted seeds. And in my lifetime, I'm witnessing, the bearing of fruit from those seeds. But I also know that the fruit that comes from what I've done, the seeds will come from what you've done when yours bears fruit. And I'm sharing with you now just how successful that's going to be. in terms of unifying, we must take care of our business. That doesn't mean we got to prostitute the religion, you
No.
know, or the faith, because there's enough of that going on anyway. But
Mhm.
what we have is goodness. What we have is valuable, and we're here to represent it. And we're easily accessible. Questions, workshops, classes, you name it, it's here. And we're not propagating. We're saying this is a part of our ancestral reality, not
Yeah.
imagination in the conniving sense, but
Mhm.
it's a part of how we actually built our empires. You don't
Mhm.
think we were calculating and taking care of business and making things happen, that we were merchants and traders, and what do you think we were doing? Oh, whatever Bill Yimbo said we were doing. Well, we
Mhm.
gotta unbleach our minds.
Yeah.
We got to unbleach our minds
Yeah.
to see ourselves. And you have apparently, done that, and you're creating based on the clarity of the ancestral. And and we have to keep up this work. But we need the people. We need you individuals out there and groups
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
to see what our purpose is. The ship is getting ready to set sail. What part are you playing in it? Are you rowing? Are you part of rowing with the oars, or are you part of making sure that that all of the food is maintained, or are you part of looking out for dangers? What are you doing? Because the ship is getting ready to set sail, and we all on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, let me share something with you real quick, Baba.
Yeah, bro.
So, um, I gotta get ready. I gotta wrap it up because I gotta pick
Yeah,
up
no
some
problem.
people. But I want to share this before we get out of here, and we're
Mhm,
definitely gonna be back to getting back on our regular schedule now that my voice is getting stronger again. But
mhm.
anyway, I don't know how many of the tribe members got to see the Jamie Foxx special, but I'm a fan of Jamie Foxx. I love the brother's brilliance. He is the true definition of multi genius.
Well, his
The
birthday's today too.
Get out of here. Wow. Now listen, that if you talk about spirit, we're not talking about
So
spirit
throw
now.
that in there.
So we're gonna close out talking about the power of
Okay.
spirit. So I got to watch the Jamie Foxx special, whatever night. It came out on the 10th. I watched it that night. And it struck a chord in me so profound. It's not even funny because he went through a stroke and none of us really knew
Yeah.
what he was dealing with. So he went through a stroke and he was sharing his comeback, like how the struggle and the challenge of everything, and how he just through that time he was able to reflect, and he was like, and I
True.
love the part like he was real, man. Like he was like, I'm Jamie Foxx. This can't happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Mhm.
he was showing vulnerability in its rawest form, and I loved it because it takes a real man to be able to do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, and then on top of that, he was real about it. So I say I like to say I could relate to him on so many different levels, and God knows I don't want to ever deal with stroke. But
Mhm.
even just having my voice taken away from me, like I began with, it makes you think about the little things that we're blessed with sometimes. I think I had to get reminded not to take anything for granted. Not that I thought that I did,
Right.
however, I didn't realize how much I use, love, and appreciate my voice until I didn't have it no more.
Yeah.
That was a challenge. It was a struggle for me. I ain't gonna lie. Because after the first couple of days, I'm thinking it's gonna come right back. No, it was literally it's just now coming back, and it's like that was a challenge for me because I'm like, damn, like I can't talk nowhere near like I want to.
Mhm.
Can you imagine if you had to live the rest of your life not being able to talk, doing what you love to do? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's like it really was a deep dive. I had to go deep within inner self. You know what I'm saying? Like to really get through not going crazy, wanting
Yeah.
to F up some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of like sometimes how the
Well,
energy goes if
well,
you don't
but what if you didn't have EFI? Again, what we present to the people. What if you didn't have EFI? You
Yes.
know what I mean? Now, Jamie Foxx is only 59 years old.
Right.
That's kind of young to be having a
Right.
stroke from where I'm from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Man.
So to be that young and to be so stricken,
Right.
you had to lead to some contemplative, where am I going with me right
Yeah.
now? You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Well, I know we'll get into to my books on the next one.
No, we're gonna jump in real quick today.
Okay.
I just wanted to,
Oh,
I just
no,
wanted to
no.
share how the
Yeah.
like just the relatability of his story, how at the timing of
Oh,
it,
yeah,
how
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt, and the whole. I ain't gonna tell the whole. I'm not gonna
Mhm,
tell the whole the whole show, but
mhm.
the punchline of the show was, if I can make people laugh, if I could stay funny and make people laugh, I could survive.
See?
And that's what he kind of put. That was his affirmation in his mind. That
Yeah,
was his mantra.
yeah,
That was his Morse code to his inner self and his
yeah.
spirit to say, if I could stay funny and
Right.
if I can make people laugh, I can survive. So what he did, he was saying how every day he would wake up, he was a different person. One day he was Jay-Z, another day he was T.I., another day he was Denzel,
Right.
and he was doing the voiceovers. He was doing, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
they,
He did Cat Williams, man.
yeah, he
Remember?
got with it. Yeah. So it was like, damn. And so I'm sitting
Yeah.
there, and the similarity to this now is
Yeah.
I'm sitting there I'm going to war with this, like with this book. I'm like, man, I'm writing
Mhm,
about this book. Man, this
mhm.
book, you know what I'm saying? Because damn it, I ain't finna be sitting here just all handicapped and decapacitated. Like, no, I'm finna something up.
Get
And
this
the
done.
more I channeled that energy, the
Mhm.
more the energy came, and the more I'm like, oh my God. And so I say all that to say that that was a very, very profound moment of reflection. And I do pray that, you know, your wishes and the blessing that you bestowed upon that project come to fruition, because I want every person who reads it or who uses it to write and direct their North Star of their life. I want them to feel the energy that I felt with putting into that,
Wow.
because I was struggling with some shit when I wrote that. I mean, like going through something. But
Yeah.
that's, and I feel like my most creative aspects or most creativity or
Mhm.
creativity comes in when I'm going through something. You know what I'm saying? It's like I take it, instead of going violent or getting crazy and deranged, you know what I'm saying, and tearing up stuff, I took it and created with it. And so now I'm like, man, this is beautiful. And I just can't wait to not only share it with the tribe, but to share it, you know, with the world, because it really was a divine download that I can't take full credit for. I'm just gonna say that spirit and ancestors and Orisa Ifa all spoke through me. I was just a vessel, but I'm elated to be a part of it, because I do feel like it's gonna be special, because there's parts or pages in that book that some people, I'm pretty sure, may have never even thought or had these internal conversations with themselves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let alone with the conversations with other people. Like, for example, I'm gonna share two more pages. Is
Mhm.
like, going into the new year, what habits or what negative self-limiting beliefs or thought patterns do you need to let go to be successful going into the new year? We all
Mhm.
have them. I know I do. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Or another one, who is a negative liability or a negative, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
parasite to
Yeah.
your journey or to your life going into the new year, do you need to let go of?
Right.
These are all things that spirit was not just speaking to me, that was speaking to
Yeah.
all of us, because I know we all deal with these things.
Right.
So it's like, that's the beauty of it, where I'm like, yo, that's powerful, because I really saw when Jamie did that stand up, that literally was the night I think that I went till 4 a.m. to finish that book, because I'm like, for him to go through what he went through and to prepare himself to get back to doing what he loves and to share that story the way he did, who
Mhm.
the hell am I not to go all the way and do the same damn thing and share with the people who I rock with and who I feel like rock with me to do the same damn thing? Because he said, if I could stay funny and make people laugh, I
Mhm.
can survive. So pretty much he was saying, if I could do what I love to do, I'm gonna
Mhm.
make it through this. So it took his love for those that he loves and who love him to be
Right.
able to tap into the next level of that
Right.
thing we call life, or dare I say, the God factor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, back to purpose. You
I
know,
should
and it's either going to feed your purpose or
break you.
it's going to deplete it. But the choice is going to be up to the individual.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, because like you said, you can just go off and fault the world. You know what I mean, and be bitter, or you could think, well, look, this is just energy right now. This is Shango at its. This is Ogun at its. You know what I mean? And I'm an Ifa priest. If anybody should be able to channel that and model that channeling and teach that channeling, it's us. You know, I know you take and he only do is he a Babalawo? Is he initiated? Did he go through all the 10 ceremonies and make? I don't know, but probably not. You know what I mean? But yet he's a Baba. He's a Babalawo. Okay. It has Nikki Giovanni gone through all 500 ceremonies and 3,000 elbows or whatever, but yet she changed the whole way of introspecting the Black Power movement. She is definitely an Iyanifa. We all are who we ancestrally are. We just happen to be on this road of it, or we take care of this part of the ship. Everybody on the ship is not an officer on the ship, but that doesn't mean that they know less and can do less.
Or their value is less.
Oh, thank
Period.
you. Period.
Period.
You think so? Try doing without them.
There you go. And that brings me to another thing I want to tap into in regards to, and we're gonna do a whole show for the books, because the time went by way faster than I anticipated. But
we got time, man.
But the thing too, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying about being confident and to share your work and to be of business, no matter what you are, what you do, you are a business, period. I don't care if you work for CVS, if you work for Walgreens, if you work for a school, if you work for UPS, it don't matter. You are still a business, because at the end of the day, we are all businesses, whether we own the business, work for the business, in partnership with the business, invest in the business. We are all a business. We are all a brand, no matter what. Whether you're, employee, a 1099, or you own the company, the owner of the LLC, or the corporation, the S Corp, C Corp, whatever, you're still a person who's in business. So even when you're dealing with your children, if my son want to go play basketball, okay, is that room clean? Is the bathroom clean? You know what I'm saying? Like, because these are all things that you're going to have to pay your way in order to get what you want. So it don't necessarily have to be a currency exchange, but it's an energy exchange. So it's still a business. It's negotiation, everything. So to say all that, when you're talking about the pastors in the church, that's real. And some of them do it right, some of them do it wrong. No different than priests, priestesses, Babalawos, Yanifas. Some do it right, some do it wrong. But at the end of the day, we should be proud of the blessings that we have of being someone in the marketplace, because the world is a marketplace. And when you speak about Shango, he is the Orisa of business and getting things done. You know what I'm saying? So governance and justice and things of that nature, as well as, well, yeah, his beautiful, loving wife, my mom, is the Orisa of the marketplace. She is the one that makes things move in the market. So it's like you got that power couple who are the yin and the yang of everything that is business, and adding value to the market so you can be compensated in this place.
And Eshu is there to make sure communication goes right. That's why I'm giving homage to Eshu on this day of my birth.
I saw that.
Okay. And it's like, yes, how are you better communicating with the world and with you? Your affirmations, as you stated, your inner purpose, your inner drive. And it's like, however it comes, it has to be communicated. So like you said, we have a lot to deal with, good people. We got more shows on top of this one that are of the same value. This is monumental work, and it's not haphazard. We putting in the time, we putting in the hours, we putting in the sweat, we making it happen. We here,
we here now. I appreciate it, Baba. Yes, indeed. And shout out to Baba Mukasa Dada, man. I edited up the pod to put on, and he definitely, I knew he was gonna make a splash with the raw realness that he was dropping. Yeah, and y'all didn't see for the ones who are members, you didn't see the whole thing. There was a lot in there that I couldn't put on the on the one on the channel. I had to put for the private members, but they got to see the whole thing where he was spitting real deal Holyfield flames, man. But shout out to Baba. I'm looking to getting him back on here because he was supposed to be on here last week as well. But like I said, we're gonna get everybody who we had scheduled. We're gonna realign them and get them scheduled. Shout out to the tribe. We're gonna have our call. Baba, Sunday. Will Sunday work for you? This coming Sunday?
Sunday works. Sunday's good.
Okay, so I'll put the link to the call in the community, as well as I'll get that link for the download for the members for the journal as well, and hopefully within the next week or two it'll be available in print as well, so we can actually write in it. But in the meantime, the ebook is available now, and I feel like if you got an empty notebook, we can still do the same exercises and the same studies and everything that's in there, with a regular notebook until it's in print. And then, we'll be able to actually write in the book as well. But Baba, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all that you do. Appreciate you holding us down.
All right. Before we go now, this is our last little commercial break. I put my books up there so people can see what we have, in terms of what we're making available through the artistry, of interpreting Ifa, interpreting Isheshe.
You see it?
No.
Let me see. Okay, I got it. It changed. Okay. What about now?
No, sir.
I think it's a delay on here. Give me 1 second, Baba. I should be pulling up.
Okay. Well, as we're waiting, good people, there's an audio book that is getting ready to hit the shelves. We're just waiting for the funnel. The work is done. Written and produced by yours truly. Our 100. I did the music score with an audio book. And then, of course, Baba Orisa Gbemi is the project manager. So we're working on audio books, and this season 1 consists of the first section of the book, A Place of Night's War and Resurrection. And Baba Orisa Gbemi kind of spoke on it a little bit earlier, and I'm just speaking on a little bit now because we're going to hold off until the funnel, and people can come in and see
still not showing
what it looks like and what it sounds like. Okay, but again, that's Place of Night's War and Resurrection. Now it's there. You just have to hit increase the screen. There you go.
I can't see y'all, so I'm running it blind, but you can see it on the screen.
Yeah, but you can't see the book. Is there any way we can get to? All right, yeah, a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now bring it down a little bit.
How about there?
A little bit more, brother.
There.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So I'm literally blind, but
okay, we're good.
Okay, as long as you can see it.
All right. And so what we have here, just as a kind of an outro, are PDFs of works that are available to you. Okay. And you'll see Elder Reflections Book 1, Elder Reflections Book 2, and in the manner of being a part of the process, poetry and prose are presented, but then there are lines in the book where you can write in your take on it and how you're making connections. Imoye is one of the books that help us to better understand the Ifa Isheshe way, the path. New Global Perspectives started making deeper kind of tunnels to connect what we do to what is done by others. How is our faith factor the same as humanity's faith factor at any given point, place, and time? One of the chapters in there that kind of shakes people a bit is white slavery, because we still have people among us, and especially our youth, who can't even fathom that Europeans were enslaved. Okay, we can watch Gladiator and see Romans enslaving the Gauls and the Franks, the early Germans and the French, but we don't think of it like that, So my point was to give academic, factual details about white slavery. So we kind of get off of this notion that we were the only people ever enslaved, kind of, burden, and say this is a blight against humanity. And the only way we're going to change it is to get humanity involved. But moving on, Souls of Myrrh is a novel. It's the first novel, and then the flagship now is A Place of Nights, War and Resurrection. And again, the audiobook will be out hopefully by this time next week, and we do an opening. So the PDFs are available. The hard copies, for the most part, are available on Amazon. Okay, and again, I thank you, for all the support, and let's build this Benin wall, and let's support our artists and our merchants, our philosophers and our writers, so that all of we can continue to do our ancestral work. Ashe.
Let's see if I can find y'all now. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that I gotta figure this thing out because I literally was just
No, it's okay. We're good. We got it.
wasn't able to see anything once I put it up. But yeah, and real quick too, last plug that I got to throw out there. Shout out to Baba Smalls, Professor Smalls. We're having a lecture him in Jacksonville in February. So any of the family or the tribe who is in the Southeast region, if you're in Florida, Georgia, any of the Southeast region, or if you want to take a flight or a trip wherever you are, we got a phenomenal lecture coming in for the Black History Month celebration with Baba Smalls on February 16th in Jacksonville. The details, I have the tickets available on the channel and on the website at AfricanSpiritualities.com, AfricanSpiritualityExperience.com. So for anybody who wants to come chop it up with us in person, man, we would love to have y'all. Love to have some tribe to meet, in person. You know what I mean? To have a real energy exchange for that event as well. And I got some other events that I'm working on now that as soon as they're locked in, I'll be sharing with you guys as well. But with that, man, we definitely appreciate the love, support, family. Baba, I appreciate you. I look forward to finishing up the A Place of Nights because I definitely took a deep dive into it today, and I love it, man. And yeah, I can't wait to see what the rest unfolds. So with that, family, I appreciate y'all. VIP will have our call this Sunday. I will lock in the time with Baba off air, and y'all will have a link in the community. And thank you again for Ifa Sagun for joining the community, the private community, and all our other private community members. Appreciate y'all. Y'all will be getting a link to the download to the Awakening Journey, the digital ebook. And then yeah, man, appreciate all the love and support, family. We definitely do. So I look forward to making this thing do again in the near future. And Baba, you got anything for the tribe on the way out?
Well, just peace and blessings, and thank you for sharing my Odunde, bringing that celebration of life around. And the most ancient within me is overjoyed. The elder in me is so very happy. You are more than an Egbe, more than an Ile. This is family. This is spiritual blood, and to be on this journey together, it means the world to me. It means all the worlds to me. So in closing, I just want to say thank you. To say thank you.
I appreciate you, Baba. I give thanks as well. Appreciate all the love and support, family. And yeah, we got a lot coming up. So we'll definitely have our call, our training session Sunday. And then I'll go with Baba to promote the next couple of live streams that we're going to be having, coming up for next week. And we're going to make it do what it do, baby. We're going to make it do what it do, baby. We're going to make it do what it do. So yeah, with that, man, we appreciate y'all, family. So this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience live stream. I am your host, Orisa Gbemi. Shout out to the Ashe tribe. We appreciate all y'all. We appreciate the love, supports, the likes, the shares. Please keep them coming. Bye-bye. We appreciate you. A huge Mudupwe. And once again, on the way out, another blessing, with your Echo Doom. And yeah, we're ready to make this thing do what it do. And we'll see y'all on the next one, family. And we are out. So don't forget, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Yeah. Karade Nation, peace. All right.
Yes, sir. Victory.
Yeah. All right, I'll share.
Ó dàbọ̀, family.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn bó bá padà sílé anítìjà kọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and pray.